All right, members of the public, thank you so much for tuning in to Star Wars City Council Edition. And Inside Out, we have Joy on the podium. City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Kaplan, Councilmember Tao, Councilmember Valenzuela.
Here.
Councilmember Guerra.
Here.
Councilmember Jennings. Here. Councilmember Vang.
Joy is here.
Vice Mayor Maple will be absent tonight, but we expect the mayor momentarily, and Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes.
Wonderful. Here. And Councilmember Guerra, will you lead us in the acknowledgement, please?
Yes, thank you.
And the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Temp. Please rise for the opening acknowledgments in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu Valley and Plains Miwok, the Patwin and Wintun people, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe, may we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous peoples' history, contribution, and lives. Thank you all. Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Guerra. We do have 3 special presentations, and we are going to be starting off with Breast Cancer Awareness Month by Darth Vader, Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, everyone. I never miss a chance for Halloween to dress up, which, by the way, is my daughter Asha's Darth Vader is her favorite character, and I want to thank my staff for playing along with. But on a serious note, this is a special presentation regarding Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Albia Ware's 20th anniversary. I said this last year, and I will say it again. I lost my aunt to breast cancer in 2011. Her girls were teenagers. So this is personal to me that we acknowledge this and understand how breast cancer can affect everyone. Because in the United States, it is 1 out of 8 women and 1 out of 726 men who will develop invasive breast cancer in their lifetime. This year alone, more than 42,000 people will die from this disease. We know that as technology and therapies improve, breast cancer is becoming more treatable, and early detection offers the best chance for effective treatment. That is why organizations such as Albia Aware are so important towards bringing awareness, support, resources, and comfort for anyone who has been impacted. Albia Aware was founded in 2004 in memory of Alberta Albie Carson, who lost her battle to breast cancer in 2002. Founded by her husband, Doug Carson, Albia Aware's mission is to provide life-saving breast cancer testing, prevention education, advocacy, and compassion support. Throughout the month of October, Albia Aware has partnered with local businesses and organizations to provide breast health information and mammogram services in areas with the lowest rate of services in the city. Let me say that again. They're providing education and services to those who least know it and could potentially be most affected by that. Albia Aware recommends that individuals 40 years and older receive a breast exam and mammogram screening annually, especially if there is a history within a family. So, on behalf of the City Council, thank you, Doug, and thank you, Albia Aware organization, for all that you do. The work that you do every day saves numerous lives and will continue to save lives in the years to come. I would now like to welcome some of the board members, Julie Sauls and founder Doug Carson, to the podium to share a few words on behalf of the organization. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, Councilmember Kaplan, for sponsoring this recognition. I'm Julie Sauls, and I'm honored to serve as the chair of the board for Albia Aware. I'm joined tonight by Doug Carson, our founder. We have Ann Grotve, one of our board members here, and Melissa Monzo, who is one of those feet on the ground doing the work to help individuals every single day. I just want to share a few words about I'll Be Aware, which you were gracious enough to share some as well. We're very excited to be celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. We are one of the largest nonprofit organizations that's dedicated to solely to breast cancer in the greater Sacramento area. As you have been told, obviously October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I want to bring some attention to some breast cancer statistics. Councilwoman Kaplan was already shared some of the facts with you, but just to let you know, it is estimated in 2024, approximately 30% of all new female cancer diagnoses will be breast cancer. And she shared some of the facts about the numbers that we face among women and men and the numbers that they are being diagnosed, but also to point out that Black women are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. And Hispanic women are more likely to be diagnosed with breast cancer at later stages, which is more difficult to treat. Breast cancer is also increasing among Asian women living in the U.S. and the LGBTQ plus community. Educating about the importance of early detection of breast cancer and empowering individuals to take control of their breast health is critical to combating these health disparities. Early detection saves lives. When breast cancer is found early and hasn't spread, the 5-year relative survival rate is 99%. And as you heard recently, the recommended age to start getting mammograms has changed from 45 now to 40. And I'll Be Aware would recommend that a clinical breast exam and screening mammograms annually for individuals 40 years or older. And if the individual has a family history, has genetic markers or symptoms that may need a mammogram, more frequently starting earlier than age 40. Finally, I just want to share with you some of the incredible work that I'll Be Aware has been doing to help your constituents and those in the greater Sacramento area. First and foremost is awareness. Activities like today, events where we are just sharing with the community and with folks that we really need to be aware. Early detection is key. This is sharing information about getting exams and screenings is one of the most important things we can do. But we also do patient navigation. When someone realizes they need to get screening or treatment, they can contact us, and Melissa is right here in our crowd. Will help them navigate either government programs, insurance, or the healthcare system. We can also provide financial assistance for those who do not qualify for screenings or having difficulty with their insurance or through government programs. And finally, compassionate support and support services to breast cancer patients, survivors, and their families. So thank you very much for spreading the word on the importance of breast cancer screenings with your constituents and for recognizing October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We really appreciate it.
Mayor, would you, Doug, Julie, board members, if you want to come on down. Mayor, would you like to
I'd be honored.
join me?
I would be honored. Thank you.
While they're going down there, Mr. Mayor and Councilmember Keppel, I just want to thank Julie for her tireless commitment and public service to the people of California as well, and her day job.
Well, a very important way to start our meeting. We now move to something that is 1,000% happy.
Yes.
And I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Jennings for this presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. I am proud and pleased to present to some and introduce to others the Land Park Pacific Little League team. Please stand, please.
Okay.
As we'll turn around and face the audience while I present you to them. It is my honor to recognize the Land Park Pacific Little League team, this exceptional group of young athletes, their coaches, their families, and community leaders who have brought great pride to the city of Sacramento. In case you didn't know, this Land Park Pacific Little League team of 2024 is an all-star team, and they had an unforgettable season. They clinched the Northern California State Little League title and showed us that, all right, you can give applause to that, yeah. They clinched the title and showed us all the power of hard work, dedication, and teamwork. To the players, you not only excelled on the field, but you have shown values to make our community strong: sportsmanship, commitment, resilience. Your success is a testament of what can be achieved when you work together towards a common goal. To the coaches and the families, let's give them a round of applause, if you will. Your support, guidance, and encouragement have been invaluable to these young athletes. They will remember you forever and all the lessons that were taught. Behind every team is a great group of dedicated coaches and families. Together, they provide a strong foundation of love and support. And to the league president and all involved in leading the Land Park Pacific Little League, you have created an environment where our youth can thrive, they can learn, and they can grow, both as athletes and as individuals. So on behalf of the city of Sacramento, it is my privilege to present these certificates of recognition to the Land Park Pacific Little League, and I congratulate you on your incredible achievement, and thank you for making your families, your communities, and the city of Sacramento for making us proud. Give them another round of applause. So I'm going to come down, and we're going to call out the name of each player, and you're going to meet me in the middle. We're going to take a group shot so this moment can be in history in the Sacramento annals forever. Okay? I'll be right there.
And Joy is going to tag team with Coach Councilmember Jennings to call your name. I'd like to apologize in advance if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm going to do my very best, but I'm going to call out your name, and you can come up to the dais right here to meet Coach Jennings, and he will present you the certificate. So player number 9, Andrew Perez. We have 2 more players, but they weren't here today, Brian Lopez and Bryce Zimmerman. Player number 99, Dylan Chu. Player number 3, Dominique Grandneedy. Yeah. I hope Joy got that right. I hope I got your last name right. Awesome. Player number 11, Henry Hastings. Player number 1, Casson Lim. Player number 28, Liam Musante. Or Musante. Woo. Player number 13, Luke Wyatt. Player number 25, Mason Eby. Player number 27, Patrick Casilla. And player number 22, Tyler Chapman. I also want to take this time to give a shout out to Coach Chapman if he's in the house. And Coach Wyatt, if you're in the house. And manager Jeff Zimmerman, who's not here. And accepting on behalf of the league board, Tori Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan. All right, we'll take a big group photo. Oh, the parents.
Come on, parents.
Can you get a camera?
Are you taking one picture with that phone?
I'm gonna take one picture with that phone, and then he'll be able to get you.
He'll share it to us.
So everybody who wants to be in the picture, we want the more people, the better. All are involved in Land Park. Grandparents, uncles, aunts, best friends.
Why does she have blue hair? Here, I'm gonna hold this.
Okay. So if we can get you two on this side, the last two right over there. Just, yeah, right over there, and fill in a little bit. That way we can get everybody in. Okay. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you. Now, I don't remember who handed me this phone. Tori, probably want this back because this looks nice.
Appreciate it.
Better than mine.
Sullivan, great job.
So very quickly, I need one parent and I need one player that's going to come up and talk about what this season meant to them. Got to be quick. We talked about this. Come on, Dominic. All right, give Dominic a round of applause, if you will. One coach, one parent.
Pat, Coach Pat.
Coach Pat, come on, Pat. All right, you guys got it. What this season means to me. You go first.
No, you go first. You're older than me.
So this season was super special for not only the kids, families, coaches, but for the community, the city, to have everybody come around and support our team, especially heading down to San Bernardino. The amount of support we received from our community was amazing. I can't say anything other than how proud I am for every one of these kids, every one of these parents, how much time and dedication they put into this. And they should be very proud of all the accomplishments they've achieved. It's been a summer to remember for everybody. So thank you for everybody. Appreciate it.
You know, kind of what he said, but like when I always knew we were always gonna win districts and maybe sections, but getting the last out of states was just a dream come true. Even though we didn't get it done in regionals, we still had a time of our life.
I've heard through a couple of you already when I talk to you. You say you didn't get it done this year, but there's always next year. And we're coming back, right? No. Aged out? Okay, all right. So next one's up. We'll be able to do it for those in that. But thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for an incredible season. Thank you for making your parents, the community, and Sacramento City proud. Thank you so much.
Dad, hurry up.
We have one more presentation recognizing Latino Physicians Day presented by Councilmember Guerra, and I have a dear friend in the audience here, so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It's my pleasure to recognize today a resolution by the City Council recognizing National Latino Physicians Day. It was established on October 1st of 2022 by Dr. Cesar Padilla and Michael Galvez, as well as many other physicians who share the concerns of the lack of representation in our healthcare system. You know, the National Latino Physicians Day was created as a celebration to recognize the existing professionals, but more so to inspire and increase the awareness of the need for more members of the community, of the Latino community, to join the medical fields. Its mission is to improve the quality of care in the United States amongst all people, and specifically those of Latino and Latina patients. The mission was inspired by the historical and existing health disparities disproportionately affecting the Latino community, non-English speaking patients, undocumented communities, and the health disparities that have worsened since the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that that pandemic highlighted so significantly those disparities. And it's important because there is a unfortunate, striking statistic that only 6% of all physicians in the U.S. are Latino or Latina. In the United States population, Latinos are the 19% of the population and growing. And in California, it's 40% of Latinos. But yet that striking number of the lack of physicians in those categories has been troubling, particularly when we're trying to educate the public about much needed health disparities and ways to improve public health. Having Latinos being represented in medicine is necessary to help address the healthcare barriers, the inequities, and poor outcomes many in our communities face. We see that in our air quality, we saw it in the pandemic, and the one way to achieve that is to increase the amount of representation. Not only that, but the careers that are afforded by the medical community can change so many lives. I know, having grown up in poverty, where we only had a clinic on a portable off of a state highway that was only open a few days during the week, we saw the challenges that many farm workers and communities face. And I also saw the benefit of being able to get a career in STEM education, how much that changed our family's life and our ability. And today I'd like to bring up to receive the recognition of National Latino and Latina Physicians Day is Dr. Sergio Aguilar Gagiola here. Let's give him a big round of applause. Now, you know, he would not like this presentation because I'm going to, recognize a bit of his accolades. This is a local healthcare hero, a local healthcare champion. Dr. Aguilar Gagiola is the founding director of the University of California Center for Reducing Health Disparities at UC Davis. There we go. I was waiting for that. I made it. I threw the softball for you guys there on that one. He is a distinguished. He has received the Vanderbilt Distinguished Alumni Award, and most recently also received the recognition by the Mexican Embassy of the prestigious Otli Award, the highest award that the Mexican government can recognize a citizen. His research has been known internationally for mental health in ethnic populations, and his cross-national epidemiological studies on the patterns affecting psychiatric disorders is well known across all of Latin America. He's a local Sacramentan here. And during the pandemic, he worked tirelessly around the clock to save lives. His work, and I remember being on the phone with him at the beginning of the pandemic, before we had ventilators, before we had vaccines, trying to educate folks about the dangers of COVID-19 and how to also get local governments and other healthcare institutions to respond to that. And partly because we had so many few physicians who could speak Spanish, who can connect with the community. So this, while this recognition is about Latino Heritage Day, I'm, very proud to welcome Dr. Sergio Aguilar Guajiola for his tireless work. And I remember seeing him, how he did not sleep many days, and the stress, and talking about how much physicians and workforce folks in the nursing community as well were all overworked during that much needed time. So with that, let's give a warm recognition for Dr. Sergio Aguilar Guajiola from UC Davis Medical Center.
Well, thank you so much for those very kind words, Council Member Guerra. I'm delighted to be here. Buenas noches. And I just prepared a few words for this, really for us, a momentous occasion. The Latino Physicians of California, we call them LPOC because of the acronym, and the National Latino Physician Day share our heartfelt gratitude to you, Council Member Guerra, and to the Sacramento City Council, and to you, Major Steinberg, for this wonderful resolution. As Council Member Guerra, I'm Sergio Aguilar Guajiola, and he presented some of the affiliations that I have. And I'm here today on behalf of the Latino Physicians of California. I'm currently the vice chair, and I'm one of the founding members that we started this in 2011 to represent, and I'm here to represent National Latino Physician Day. The LPOC and the National Latino Physician Day want to bring awareness to a critical issue about this remarkable disparity that you highlighted, and that shows that even though we are a little bit above 40% in California, here in California currently, Latino physicians represent about 6.9%. And one thing that is important to highlight is that there is a remarkable unequal distribution across the state, because there are some places like the Bay Area in which there is a higher representation, and there are other places like the Central Valley or Imperial Valley that they don't have too many, especially Latino physicians. And there is a tremendous disparity by language as well. So this remarkable healthcare workforce gap underscores significant inequities in healthcare access and quality for our Latino communities and other communities, because Latinos not only see anyone who is in need, any population, who often do not receive the cultural, linguistically appropriate healthcare they need and deserve. National Latino Physician Day is not only a day to bring attention and shed light on this key issue, but also a time to celebrate the Latino physicians who dedicate their careers to serving their communities. As clearly revealed during the COVID-19 pandemic, Latino physicians were on the front lines and continue to be on the front lines, bridging cultural divides and making a real difference in the lives of Latino parents, their families, and their communities. As Californians, we must also look toward the future. And this is very important for us as an organization. We need the next generations of Latino doctors. We want to encourage young Latinos to pursue careers in medicine by creating a supportive environments through mentorship and institutional backing. They are our future and the future of healthcare, and they will help address this critical gap. Finally, LPOC and the National Latino Physician Day urge institutions from hospital boardrooms to medical schools to meaningfully partner with us to address this significant shortage. We can attest the Latino community is eager to engage with these institutions to actively work toward increasing Latino representation in medicine, ensuring that our health care workforce reflects the communities it serves. This is not just an issue of numbers, but an issue of advancing health equity and health equity in access to care and the quality of care that they receive. Together, we can make meaningful, lasting change for the ultimate benefit of the Latino and other communities that we serve. No matter who is those we serve, we do it with the spirit of service. So thank you so much for this wonderful resolution, and we are honored to receive it. And I'm delighted to be here and see wonderful faces that I have known before and that I'm looking forward to see in the future as well.
Dr. Aguilar Gaxiola, dear friend, Councilmember Guerra spoke about your biography, and I just wanted to elevate that a little bit here. This man, many of you don't know him, he doesn't come to City Hall often, but this is a treasure, not only in the Sacramento community, but throughout the state of California, who has done more to address the health inequities around mental health for communities of color, and especially the Latino community. When the Mental Health Services Act passed, and he was one of the early supporters of the Mental Health Services Act, he made sure that we have tried to live up to its original promise by ensuring that cultural competency was a commitment followed through on as we expended these billions of dollars. And your work has been groundbreaking. You're a very humble and modest man, but you are treasured. And I just wanted to say that on the record. Thank you.
But one accolade I forgot to mention, he was the 2018 Mental Health Champions recipient of the Steinberg Institute as well. So,
no doubt the biggest honor.
Yes.
Again, I would say that why would a city council recognize, Latino Physicians Day on a healthcare issue? And that's because fundamentally, not only is it important for us to have a healthy community because it's the right thing, but we cannot have a strong economy if we don't have a healthy workforce, and we cannot be an innovative and future driving economy in Sacramento if our kids grow up in poor health conditions where they cannot succeed in themselves. And with 5 medical institutions, significant healthcare industries, to only have 6% of our representation in those healthcare institutions is I think a blaring gap that needs to be addressed. So with that, another round of applause for Dr. Guardiola, a resolution recognizing the day. Councilmember Talamantes.
I do want to add that he's a Natomas resident.
Yes.
So, and as someone, I still go to doctor's appointments with my mom because she doesn't speak English and she's just shy to talk to physicians. And so having you do the work that you do and that cultural component of it is so important, and we're just honored to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Valenzuela? was that consent? Okay. Okay, we now move to the business portion of our agenda, and we begin with the consent calendar. Are there items that members would like to discuss or vote on separately? Start with Councilmember Valenzuela.
I just wanted to make a comment on item 16, please.
Give me just a second. Very good. Councilmember Tao? What did I miss here? I'm sorry.
Cleared me.
Mayor Pro Tem, sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes.
I actually just want to move the consent calendar.
Okay,
I'm really excited to do that.
okay. There'll be a second on that, so that takes care of that. That's good. Now, Councilmember Tao.
Just want to make a comment on 7 and 8 together.
7 and 8 together. Okay, very good. Councilmember Kaplan.
Comment on 13 and 16.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Yeah, I'll do the brief comment on 7 and 8 together, and 13 and 16.
16's in the lead right now. 3. Okay. Let's hear. Yeah. Just keep those of you keeping score at home. All right, we.
Mayor, I just have a read to the record. Item
Yes.
number 15 is going to be withdrawn.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Item 15.
Okay, so let's have your motion and second as amended. Thank you. 15. All right. Let's hear from the public, and then we'll turn it over to the council members.
Thank you. I have one speaker, Ron Elmsley, on item 16.
I hope that you don't give any more money to 522 bros. They're the most powerful union in the city of Sacramento. They get what they want, which is money. One time I had a sign that says 522 are money suckers. A guy turned into one of the two 522 bros, reached over my head and grabbed my sign because he said that, he told a cop, he said he didn't want profanity to be the children in this chamber because he read it as fuckers instead of suckers. Now, these people, they have
Which item
no-
are you talking about, Mr. Helmsley? I don't know what item you're referring to.
Oh,
here, sir.
16, I'm
What
sorry.
does that have to do with language used in the chambers? I'm sorry.
I don't want you folks to give any more money.
Okay, we got your point. Thank you. But what's your point? Okay, you were talking
Okay,
about somebody using profanity.
My point is, they abandoned my wife. We called, she had pneumonia, and they said that we were playing the system. She didn't want to go down there unless she was taken in a stretcher. We had to wait till the next day so that we could help her, and they admitted her immediately for 5 days. These are the type of people that you're going to give more money to. You got to quit doing that. They have no shame like you folks. Seriously. So you be good now, Daryl.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers on the consent calendar.
Okay, let us now turn it over to the members for comments. For items 7 and 8, I guess Councilmember Guerra stepped out for just a sec. Councilmember Tao on items 7 and 8 together.
Thank you, Mayor. Wanted to commend city staff and Brian Perry, Joe Yayan, and the whole city team for going out for this grant in January. Wanted to commend the mayor as well, you know, when you represented District 2, when there was no vacancy, you took charge and working with the city and going out and get this grant, $18 million to address homelessness in on the Northern Sacramento Bike Trail and the city as a whole. You know, but then the focus, the bulk will be on the Northern Sacramento Bike Trail, and this is something that's really what the community has been coming out to council and voicing their concerns about, and we need to do more than just chase or push the homeless population out, but how can we, expand our services, expand our Roseville Road shelter, and create more capacity. And this is going to be very instrumental in making that happen for North Sacramento, for the city as a whole. And so I want to commend staff for, doing a great job and great work on this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your, well, I'm going to comment in a minute, but thank you for your advocacy as well. You came in and that River Parkway now, the bikeway, is much cleaner and more people are getting help. Thank you. Councilman Guerra on items 7 and 8.
Yes, thank you. I also wanted to echo those comments and also to thank our city staff. We had a productive conversation today with the policy committee staff of the State Senate and State Assembly. And I think the fact that we have so many folks who live in our city who also work at the state, it's an important opportunity for us to not forget that we should look at Sacramento as continuing to be the innovator and leader in this. And I do want to thank, again, the mayor on the work that we've done on the 4x2 to get to this and to match our funds is only going to help us move forward. But I want to take this opportunity to thank our city staff for their engagement.
Thank you. I just on this item as well, I want to thank the city team as well for putting together such an effective application, but mostly showing proof of concept that led to us getting this grant. I know things are not perfect around homelessness, far from it, but I defy anybody who can claim with any credibility that things aren't better than they were. Both the numbers, 41% reduction between 2022 and 2024, and just the plain visibility, and nobody ever attributes the fact that 8 years ago we were funding and operating less than 100 beds. With this grant, which, by the way, is going to give us capacity for at least 200 plus beds, at least 200, some of that permanent housing. And then when you add the South Sacramento Well Space Project, which is coming online, we are going to be north of 1,500 beds every single night in this city. And that doesn't include the permanent housing that we have led on over the last number of years as well. So those of you who are nothing but critics constantly, at least acknowledge some of the progress that has been made over these last number of years, thanks to the dedicated work of a city team, and thanks to the policymakers up here who have insisted that this issue continue to be a community priority. Thank you. $18 million, not a bad day of work. Appreciate you very, very much. All right. Item 13. That is Councilmember Guerra again, and then Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, again, thank the city staff on this. We went through the process of creating Vision Zero and changing the way our Public Works Department and our city looks at safety in our streets. Now we've developed an action plan, created an active transportation commission. The Vision Zero plan was put out forward. And now this is an ability for our city staff to take actionable steps. It gives, again, our city manager the ability to begin and issue a contract so that we can make some visible, actionable steps to increasing the safety for pedestrian and cyclists in our city. I was, be remiss if I didn't say that, unfortunately, not just in Sacramento, but the presentation that we received at our Council of Governments showed that deaths across the nation on pedestrian and bicycle are increasing across the board everywhere. And even in developing countries that have just as many vehicles and have issues, deaths are actually declining on pedestrian and cyclists. But in our country and in our city, they've increased. So this is our actionable steps to actually address the issue of pedestrian and bike safety. So with that, I just again want to take this opportunity to thank the staff for making another step forward to improving our safety on our streets.
Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor, and I just want to ditto and thanking staff. It's something where not a week goes by in Sacramento that we do not hear about a scooter, bike, or pedestrian accident or facility in adopting Vision Zero, of which I know Councilmember Jennings and Guerra were on council then when it was adopted. You know, we had this audacious goal of having no traffic fatalities by 2027. Well, we've got a long way to go, because also what we know is cars are heavier, people are driving faster, and they're driving more distracted by their phones, which is causing this. And so updating our data, updating our plan is really important. I appreciate, because I always harp with staff, we've got to update our data, and we need the most recent data. And I know, looking at the last 10 years up through 2023, and my plug and push is, you know, as you get the consultant on and 2024 data comes in, that is also used, because when we have the most up-to-date data in our plan, it's actually going to make us eligible for more competitive grants and funding that we so desperately need. But I also believe it's going to help tell the story of why we need a transportation measure in 2026, because we can't make our roads and our bike areas safer without the funding. Our staff is doing an amazing job, hodgepodge, pulling together grants, but we can do better by our city, and that's got to be a dedicated measure, and this Vision Zero plan is going to tell the story why. So thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Very important. And finally, very important item 16. I'll start again, I guess in the order here. Councilmember Kaplan, Councilmember Valenzuela, Councilmember Guerra, and I'm going to say a word, so go.
Thank you again, Mayor. Just want to say thank you to our first responders. It is not easy nowadays. We as a city have grown, but yet the amount of firefighters and first responders we have on our roads has not. And what's important to remember is they're not only first responders in our city, but they're also active members of our community, attending community events. You know, I just had several out at my 916 day cooking hot dogs for over 70 volunteers. So when we recognize the hard work that's being done, a thank you is in order. So this isn't enough, but it is a small thank you for the work that is being done. And now we just have to figure out, I need that North Lake Fire Station built. Our residents need that built. So that's my one plug, as well as congratulations on this agreement.
Very good. Did I? Councilmember Valenzuela, yes, of course. Yes.
I won't repeat what my colleague said, but I just wanted to take the opportunity, since the leadership of 522 is here or watching if they're not here, because I know Ryan was kicking himself that he was going to be out of town today, just to say thank you. It's really been an honor to work with you all these last 4 years, from the 24-hour ride-along to really see how Station 2 worked through that whole Saturday night, to everything in between. It's just been a true honor working with you all and seeing the impact, the positive impact you've had on the city. And so I just wanted to take the time to thank you for that.
Very good. Thank you so much. Councilmember Guerra.
Yeah, thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Like my colleague said, I just wanted to thank again, you know, the leadership of Local 522 for working collaboratively with our city team to take us to the next step forward, and to personally thank the firefighters at Station 6 and 10 who came out to Tahoe Park and supported all the young folks out there. To the firefighters, I forgot what station it was, that also was out there with the lowriders as well, and also to Fire Station 60 for being great, generous hosts for our annual College Greens, community town hall, and to hosting a community center there for us, and that has been a big aspect of the community. How engaged our firefighters have been with the everyday citizen, not just in the work that they do, but in the civic part of what they do. So with that, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. I want to just add my thank yous to Local 522 for really stepping up big time. But I also want to thank my council colleagues and the city manager for the way this was addressed. We have a budget deficit, as you know, and at the same time, our firefighters, our public safety personnel deserve more. They do, for the job that they do. So we're in this conundrum. How do we do this? Well, the council gave direction, and the manager really carried it out very, very adroitly by working with 522 to ensure that the 5% here is offset by both additional revenue and additional savings. and so that it is net neutral when it comes to the city's budget problem. And you know, these are the little big things that amidst all the controversies sometimes don't get seen or acknowledged. But it's really what sort of the day-to-day work around here is when we work at our best. And so I want to thank my colleagues, but I want to thank and 522 because you consistently show an ability to both represent your members and also problem solve and be part of the solution, and it's noticed. And the city manager for the way you handled this, because I think it was adroit. And the fact that this is on consent, we're talking about it, so it's big public here, but the fact that it's not controversial, and that's the kind of stuff that sometimes doesn't get the notice, but it's what moves the city forward. So thank you. All right, we have got a motion by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes made the motion on this, seconded by Councilmember Kaplan on the consent calendar minus item 15, which has been withdrawn. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain. That passes unanimously. Thank you. Let's now move to, Let us now move to the discussion items, both really around the same general topic about how we invest in our neighborhoods. And let us begin with item 17, the annual report for the Emergency Home Repair Pilot Program.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Peter Lemos. I'm your Code and Housing Enforcement Chief for the City of Sacramento. Tonight, I'm here to provide an update on the Sacramento's Emergency Home Repair Program. The Justice for Neighbors Emergency Home Repair Pilot Program, was known as EHRP, was a pilot program approved by the City Council on May 16, 2023. The Emergency Home Repair Pilot Program was created and funded in partnership with their City Attorney's Office using Justice for Neighbors funds and the Housing Division within the Office of Innovation and Economic Development, utilizing City Held Housing Trust funds. The program is managed by the city's Housing and Dangerous Buildings staff. Of this Community Development Department is where the staff is located, in partnership with Habitat for Humanity of Greater Sacramento, whose staff is here present tonight. The program is in alignment with the city's 2021 through 2029 housing element, which includes recommended action program H49 for establishment of the emergency repair program, which would provide grants to low-income households for emergency repair. In addition, the one-time use of JFN resources is in keeping with the established goals of the JFN program. The program provided one-time funds totaling $540 to establish the pilot program. This program was to assist low-income homeowners that challenge hardships in home repairs due to tight household budgets. Unresolved, these home repairs can lead to habitability and safety issues, and over time, and sometimes result in the loss of the housing in our community. These types of conditions, the program would address our code violations that would qualify the property as substandard and dangerous, following our City of Sacramento City Code. So who qualifies? The properties must be single-family owner-occupied properties. Homeowners may not own any other property. Household income for all residents over 18 years of age must be less than 80% of the area median income. The home must be insured, and the property must be in the City of Sacramento. What types of violations does it cover? Any substandard or dangerous violations, such as substandard electrical roofs, structural issues, electrical plumbing, HVAC systems. Eligible households may qualify for up to $15,000 in one-time funding to complete the needed repairs. This is a grant towards repairs that would be completed by Habitat for Humanity and their subcontractors. It's not a reimbursement directly to the homeowner. At this location shown in the photograph, We had failing subfloors and failing flooring, making the shower and restroom facilities in this location non-usable. This is what the finished product looked like. Since the program began, we received 126 requests to be considered for the emergency home program. Of these, 98 were denied for various reasons. Even though we wished we could approve all of them, there were various reasons they could not be approved, such as the property was not within the city limits, many duplicate requests, there were owners looking for reimbursement for work they had done in the past, the violations did not meet the qualification of being dangerous or substandard, or unfortunately, the repairs were so significant they exceeded the funds and grants available. The repairs of the 14 properties that have been completed included the installation of new heating systems, new roofs, electrical plumbing systems, along with violations that were discovered during the repairs. 14 additional properties, and now 16 as of today, are in the process of review, hold due to cost, or in processing before they can move forward. Habitat for Humanity has utilized other resources and gap funding to further stretch these resources to complete projects exceeding the $15,000 in grants available to get residents the assistance they need. In the first 14 projects, Habitat for Humanity has provided nearly $21,000 in gap funding, labor, and other resources to complete the needed repairs. They may not be able to continue at this pace with these projects ongoing. The properties that were completed are in the following council districts. In District 2, there were 3 projects completed. District 3, 2 projects. District 5, 3 projects. District 6, 2 projects. And District 8, 4 projects. The cost of repairs to complete these projects and the details were provided in your packet under the Habitat for Humanity Annual Report 2324. Here we're showing some of the work that was done. This is the way the heating and ventilation system was when we got there for this family, and this is what a finished product looked like. To date, the grants for repairs have totaled $198,000 to complete 14 projects. The balance of the one-time funding remaining is $305,576, with 14 projects being processed and 16 more, as I mentioned, coming forward. With the additional 14 projects that we've estimated, the maximum amount these projects would be granted is $210,000, leaving a balance of approximately $95,576. That would help an additional 6 projects, now 4. So the estimated time to expend all the funds we're estimating is 10 to 12 months. For the additional projects in the process, there's 1 in District 1, 4 in District 2, 1 in District 4, 4 in District 5, 1 in District 6, 1 in District 7, and 4 in District 8. The photo here shows 2 additional units. One is the heating unit for a property, and the other is the condenser because as they had no heat, we have to replace the entire HVAC system, so this is the condenser for the air conditioning system. So, success. The pilot program has proven to be successful in addressing substandard housing conditions in homes owned by low-income homeowners. And the corresponding grant has resulted in improving the housing stock conditions and safety, as well as providing resources to homeowners that are economically challenged to maintain their homes. The program has enhanced housing stability for those homeowners and helped to further code violations and housing deterioration further avoided. This program has served to prevent homelessness due to unstable and unsafe housing conditions at these properties. We know there's more work to be done. We know we need to help more families and complete more projects, such as this, where we had to do a complete roof replacement, including roof covering, sheeting, and structural members. In this case, this was one that took significant amount of gap funding and resources from Habitat to complete because of the cost. We're aware during these budget times there is no permanent funding source for an ongoing program. If one-time funds are made available for this program, we hope to continue with our partners in Habitat for Humanity to enter into a new contract to keep this program going. I wanted to bring this tonight to this council As you are the council who approved this pilot program, we know there is still great need in the community for addressing substandard housing conditions in homes owned by lower-income homeowners. And we know the pilot program and corresponding grant has resulted in improving housing conditions and safety, as well as providing resources to homeowners that are economically challenged to maintain their homes. We want you to know that there's 14 additional families in our city who are not living in substandard conditions, or even worse, may have lost their home. In some cases, we are their only resource. We hope Sacramento will continue this program or programs like it as long as possible and funding becomes available. In code enforcement, it's not always easy for us to see or gauge our success. Here we can actually see it. If you have any questions, I'm available, and representatives from Habitat for Humanity are in attendance this evening. We have Ann Gambino, Interim Director of Homeowner Services, Michael Gordon, Director of Construction, and Brian Busta, Home Repairs and Preservation Manager. And
Thank you
Council
so
for your time
much.
this evening.
Really important information. Great program. Do we have public testimony, Madam Clerk?
We have no speakers on this item.
Right, then let's turn it over to the council. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Peter, who oh so quickly walked away. Thank you for that presentation. And thank you, Habitat, for partnering with us on this. Yeah, go Habitat. It wouldn't have been possible without you as a partner and the funding you were able to bring in, so I want to thank you for that. And I want to reiterate something you said, because I think you can't say it clearly enough, but the least costly way that we fight homelessness is by keeping people in the homes they're in now. And for a lot of people, these repairs get to the point with habitability where we have to come through as code and say, you can't stay here. It's not safe. There's mold, there's leaks, you have to go. And if you're low income and don't have access to the credit and resources, and so many of the programs that exist are rebates, which sounds good when you think about it, but when you think about a low income homeowner and their ability to afford to do the work and then get reimbursed, and it won't even cover 100% of the cost most of the time, it's just not possible. So I want to thank you, because if I'm doing the math on this correctly, because you really championed this. I remember coming into office and talking to you, and you were like, we are sick essentially of citing people for inhabitable homes when we can't do anything to help them. Your officers and your teams are seeing this firsthand with homeowners who are like, what do you want me to do? I can't do anything. And so you really pushed for this. And so I want to give you the props for that, because that's really important. And I think if I'm doing the math from your slide correctly, with $500,000, you've managed to save 34 households potentially from becoming homeless. That's 34 households. It's not even 34 people. And that would have cost us way more money if we had tried to do that after the fact, when someone became homeless and we were trying to administer services and trying to get them help. And so I just want to make sure that you feel that kudos, because that would not have happened if you had not brought this program forward and really pushed for this to be a priority in our funding. And I know it's one-time money because I remember doing it, and I want to figure out a solution here. And I don't know if it's Justice for Neighbors, ongoing partnership, what options exist to try to make this a permanent program. But it's not just important for housing, obviously, but for all of our climate goals, we say well, you should put solar panels on your roof to lower your energy costs. Well, I can't do that if my roof is falling down. You should install a stove that's not gas. Well, I can't do that if the electrical wiring behind my stove is out of date. There's all these basic alignments that something like this does. I feel like it's one of those triple bottom line, very obvious programs. And so I guess, have you seen best practices in the ways other cities do this? I know you talk to other code officers and folks, and do you have any thoughts, I guess I want to say, in terms of ideas for what we could look at as a council to keep this going?
When we started the program, most cities were calling us, including the state, asking how we did it.
Wow.
So with the loss of CDBG funds, back when we lost the redevelopment agencies, that's when it was prevalent that we used to do these programs a lot. So most cities are struggling. They'll do one-offs or do the correction as we can do abatement. In some of these cases, we actually had to do that where it was so extensive. Instead, we abated it, charged the property owner to put a lien on the property. That's what the family chose us to do. So that is what a lot of cities do right now, is they use regular funds and then charge back. This is there's no other grant programs that are flourishing that we've been able to establish or make contact with.
Okay. Well, I will say, I think in terms of alignment with the Energy Commission's Equitable Building Decarb program, there is funding in that program for the northern region, because a lot of what's happening in San Francisco and other places too is they're going in to change out the appliances and realizing like, oh no, something's wrong. And so they do have money to come in and do those additional rehabilitations. So I think there could be some synergy with the climate resiliency work that maybe we could explore. But in general, I think colleagues, it's kind of a call to action when we look at those funding plans and strategies that we make for homelessness. I mean, you remember the bell curve type thing that Yayen showed us, where it's like, we're spending $40 million on temporary shelter and $2 million on housing placement and $2 million on prevention. Like, this fits so squarely in the prevention bucket. And so how do we figure out, and we're stuck a little bit because you don't want to defund shelter services, right? Because that wouldn't make any sense because people are using them. So how do we shift and find more resources for that $2 million pot? Because what we're doing right now with emergency rent assistance and relocation assistance is super important, but so is this, because there are a lot of low-income people living in homes that they own either because their family bequeathed it to them or for some other reason they got lucky and bought when it was cheap, and they're stuck. And I don't want to see, I see too many people when I was organizing in Oak Park, and I know the vice mayor isn't here, but there was a lot of people who lost their homes for very preventable code violations that were nobody's fault, but they simply didn't have the money to repair it. So I guess that's the call to action, is like for you to maybe touch base with the planners who I know are reaching out to the Northern Region Equitable Building Decarb program to see if there's a way for us to find alignment, and hopefully Habitat, I know you're probably aware of that program as well, but I think there's some opportunities to get creative here and to really build off what you've done. But I'm sorry to hear that it's been a model for so many other places and we don't have any more money for it right now. So I just want that to be a call to action, I guess, for us moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to say before I turn it over to Councilmember Guerra, imagine if we had a robust county-wide housing trust fund funded by a ballot measure that would not only state housing as a priority, but back it up with systemic funding. Imagine that possible. Councilman Guerra?
No, I concur, and wanted to, again, just thank our city team on this, and both the Justice for Neighbors program and also Habitat, because this kind of program is the one that when you look at many of the people who are affected, they're many times seniors, many times it's those who have lost their partners late in life as well. And the home repairs have escalated. I know so many in South Sacramento and in my district who are in that same situation. And also wanted to thank again the creative work when we looked at the issue on illegal cannabis grow houses, and how some of these houses have been bought up and basically stripped out, and we were able to retrofit those and work with Habitat to actually, get those back into quality housing. So I guess one thing I learned from that was that using the leverage of the city attorney's office through the not only judgments, the fine process, and receivership process, I'd like to actually maybe provide some direction that we start to develop a policy on when we do get judgments or fines that we collect, say from, some of these absentee slumlords with larger apartment complexes or whatnot, that, if it's a fine or a judgment associated with housing or housing insecurity, that we allot that and have the first priority to go into this type of program. Most of our fines and judgments go back to enforcement, and I think that's important. But again, a little piece, little prevention goes a long way, and it essentially helps us do that work. So, Mr. City Manager, I'd like to actually, and we did that in the illegal cannabis grow house program. We were able to leverage, both through the civil courts and civil action, and use that, either the property or the fines, to be able to repair those homes. So I'd like to at least have that standing policy, absent going after bigger pots of money.
So, Councilmember Guerra, and I also want to acknowledge Councilmember Valenzuela as well. I agree with everything you said. This is a very important program, and thank you to Habitat and Peter, but what's missing here is also the City Attorney's Office that works closely with all of us to make this happen. I think that the dollars we put aside here, this $500,000, have gone such a long way. We need to consider this as part of the larger budget discussions that we're going to have. But as a starting point, let's take a look at what we can do to allocate those fines to a program like this, but have it in a discussion in a larger context.
Sure, no, and that's what I meant. I think I'd like the city attorney and your team to come back with a type of proposal. Again, when we receive a judgment or we collect a fine, that's unexpected revenue that we weren't receiving. So there's one, allocating and appropriated general fund dollars, but at least we should have a policy that comes in that, hey, if we get this, I wouldn't want to call it a windfall because, usually it doesn't cover the cost of the services, but at least it puts it in a preventative pot. Like we always need money for enforcement. In fact, because of the amount of enforcement or the inability to do more enforcement, we go on cases that are called to us, not proactive enforcement. So I do think that in this case that we should figure out how to make that balance with that unexpected revenue.
So I'll work with the City Attorney's Office to figure out how we can bring something forward like that.
Great.
Thank you.
Excellent. Councilmember Tao?
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I just want to thank Peter and Habitat Humanity for the work that you do for the community. I myself know how expensive to, just do a re-roof. Recently, I just did a re-roof this year, and it cost me about the quotes was like $40,000, $30,000, and $22,000. A lot of the works I see here is $15,000, very costly. And I know the work is done to really help our most vulnerable populations. And I totally concur with Councilman Guerra looking for a program, this is a pilot program, but definitely from our fees from code enforcement or housing and dangerous building, how we can set up a fund to really look at addressing this issue moving forward. Because I was just looking through my phone and Citizen Serve, and 176 dangerous housing and vacant building open right now in the city of Sacramento. 38 of it is in my district. That's about 22%. That's a lot, and we don't know if it's owner occupied or if it's a rental or it's just vacant. And I think this is something that moving forward, really old neighborhoods, low income neighborhoods with very low per capita income really needs this help. And the great work that you and Habitat did, I commend you for that and for stepping up, because, there is very limited funding. And when we talk about preventative housing or prevention for folks, and our most vulnerable populations are always one paycheck away from being displaced. And so I am very supportive of looking at how the city can make this a robust discussion and how we can make this work in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to wrap a bow around this and say I agree with my colleagues, because I think it's looking at almost a bigger thing that we've looked at, even though that, there may be city trees planted that are now breaking the sidewalk, but it falls on the homeowner. All of the things surrounding a house, it seems like you're never done once you own a house, fixing a house. And I think having a comprehensive policy of looking at it, especially how it hits our most vulnerable, because we're right, Councilmember Valenzuela, this is the best use of money for preventative for homelessness. And how do we do that? So I just want to echo the support of, I don't know the right way, but I think we have to start really looking at that and creating a policy so that we have potential funds that, when they become available, can be a source that we can use.
All right. We want to do more of this great work with the community. That's the message, and we need to get creative. We need to find the resources and help more people and avoid homelessness. Councilmember Valenzuela is absolutely right. It's the prevention side that often gets not overlooked, but we don't pay as much attention to that as we do to the efforts to get people off the streets. And this is an opportunity to keep people housed, who deserve to be housed. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good job. Let us now move to item 18. This is the ARPA framework and funding priority regarding the approving establishment of a small business assistance center pilot. Ms. Malvetti, welcome.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, council members. Denise Malvetti, Deputy Director of the city's Office of Innovation and Economic Development. And I'm happy to be here this evening with our team, as well as with Sacramento Investment Without Displacement Subcommittee, to share updates on our office's small business programs and seek approval for the establishment of a small business assistance center. Sacramento small businesses are the heart of our community and economy. They are what make our neighborhoods and districts so special. And the health of our small businesses is also directly tied to the city's fiscal sustainability. It is critical that we continue to support our small businesses, especially those that are most vulnerable. Tonight's item builds on the city's commitment to inclusive economic development. Although our office has always prioritized supporting small businesses, about 6 years ago, the city committed to more inclusively growing Sacramento's economy. And part of that commitment was adding capacity to our office to better serve Sacramento's residents and businesses. This included adding staff specifically to support small businesses. It also included the creation of the Neighborhood Development Action Team and the Community Engagement Team. Having this added capacity was critical when our office was called upon to deploy CARES and ARPA funding, and will be essential as we launch the proposed center. The proposed center is the evolution of our office's work that incorporates lessons learned from our recent CARES and ARPA investments and thoughtful input from SAC IWD's subcommittee. The item before you today is twofold. First, to establish a small business assistance center, a 2-year pilot program, and it also satisfies one term of the Aggie Square settlement agreement. Before I turn it over to McKellen Ginger to provide an overview of the center, I want to thank the entire Economic Development Small Business team, which includes Sabrina Teft, Valerie Mamoni, and Michael Young. I also want to thank the Sacramento Investment Without Displacement Subcommittee members who collaborated with the city team to develop the next iteration of our small business programming. I am certain that this collaborative effort has resulted in a program that will allow us to better serve our treasured small businesses. I am eager for you to hear more about the center, so I will first turn it over to Mikael Davila.
All right, thank you, Denise, and good evening, Mayor and council members. Small businesses are the economic engine for the nation and for Sacramento's economy. Small businesses employ nearly half of the nation's employees, and of all business establishments in the county, over 99% of them are classified and considered small businesses. So what is the value of small businesses? I'll just list a few of them here, but small businesses keep dollars circulating locally in the economy, which boosts local employment, encourage business growth, promote community wealth, and increase tax revenues. Also, small businesses contribute more to charity and local community causes than their large corporation counterparts, both in frequency and impact. Small businesses have higher giving rates and donations larger percentages of their revenue, and high volunteerism rates amongst their employees. Finally, as Denise mentioned, small businesses serve the local neighborhood with critical amenities. They create culture and foster a sense of place and pride for the neighborhood, and at times they're where memories are made. So knowing that small businesses are critical to our economy, we must nurture and support and assist them. So how does OIED and the city do that? Whoops. So I won't take you back to January of this year when Denise provided a thorough overview of our office's programs and our small business work, but just highlighting that from small business triage and referral services and technical assistance and economic gardening to fostering a safe and vibrant nighttime economy and providing systemic support for our childcare industry to support our workforce, OIED does a lot to support small businesses. And why we're here today is we're excited about the possibility of expanding on that list with the Small Business Assistance Center pilot program. So as Denise mentioned, staff is excited to put forth a recommendation in partnership with SAC Investment Without Displacement to establish a Small Business Assistance Center pilot program, satisfying paragraph 3A9 in this Aggie Square Settlement Agreement, which says to design a, quote, small and local small business protection and development program for council consideration, and hire consultants to evaluate the center and study the feasibility of future programs. So we're proposing that the center is comprised of 6 programs or services, and that the pilot phase is expected to last about 2 years. It's primarily funded through council-directed ARPA small business commercial corridor revitalization funds, and we also did receive a $300,000 grant from the U.S. Small Business Administration that's being applied to this program as well. So the 6 programs are an evolution of what we think is foundational support that the city should be providing for small businesses. I did just want to mention too that the Measure U funding is really for staff time only, and as Denise mentioned, that capacity built up in OIED helped us engage with SAC IWD, helped us understand what the challenges were from businesses, take the lessons learned and develop a program like this, so we're certainly grateful for that. Before I hand it to Ginger to talk through each of the programs, I just want to share that designing the pilot was, again, based on our long history working with small businesses, especially through the pandemic and through the CARES and ARPA funds. We've seen a lot of success, and we have concrete sort of lessons learned that we've thought through and designed the center around. The Aggie Square Settlement Agreement provided us the opportunity to work with SAC IWD, and collectively we see the center as the foundation to continue developing resources and potential protections for Sacramento's small and micro neighborhood serving businesses. So with that, I'm going to invite Ginger up to talk a little bit through our pilot programs and services.
Thank you, Mikkel. I'm going to take the next few minutes to describe each component of the proposed Small Business Assistance Center. So the first component is providing $1.1 million in grant funding to support 10 property and business improvement districts, or PBIDs. A key responsibility of the PBID will be to hire business navigators to conduct door-to-door outreach to small businesses within their respective districts. Building on lessons learned from CARES and ARPA small business investments, we've learned that the business navigator model works, and the role of trusted, culturally competent messengers is critical to identifying business assistance needs. The second component is a $600K investment into a technical assistance, or TA, program. This component consists of a two-tiered structure, where a core TA provider will serve as the first tier and field general business assistance requests. Staff already released a competitive solicitation seeking a core TA provider and plans to return to council before the end of the calendar year for approval. The second tier will consist of TA providers who possess specialized expertise in areas of greatest need as identified by previous business TA programs. These areas include access to capital, accounting and bookkeeping, online and web presence, legal assistance, and government contracting. Staff already released a solicitation to establish an on-call list of specialized TA providers, but plans to re-release another solicitation that will stay open for an extended period of time. The third component is a $250K investment in a micro grant program where businesses who received a technical assistance recommendation from one of the city's core or specialized providers can apply for up to $5,000 to support implementation of a TA recommendation. So for example, if a TA provider recommended that a business obtain an e-commerce point of sale system to boost revenue, then the business can apply for a micro capital grant from the city to support purchasing that system. This program really builds on the success that we've seen from the city's economic gardening program, where there is a similar structure utilized, where offering TA is paired with a matching grant to fund implementation of TA recommendations. The fourth component is a $50K fee credit program. The free credit program allows businesses to apply for up to $2,500 in credits for applicable city fees. Similar to the microgrants, this incentive program is meant to offer access to microcapital and reward businesses who engage in the city's TA program. The fifth component is a $50K appropriation for data tools. Here, staff is investing in a publicly accessible tool that provides businesses with valuable market, industry, and location data. Staff already completed a competitive solicitation and is under contract with Size Up. And another important aspect of the data component is the deployment of the city's 311 business portal. Built within Salesforce, staff expanded the city's general 311 portal to include the functionality for businesses to not only create business accounts, but also for businesses to submit business assistance requests for service. This means Salesforce will serve as the center's data collection tool, allowing staff to track service provision data. The advantages of using Salesforce are many, including the ability to generate robust and customizable reports, as well as having access to real-time information. So for example, staff will be able to check on the status of business assistance requests to ensure timely resolution, which is something that has proved challenging in the past. And the final and sixth component of the proposed Small Business Assistance Center is dedicating 5 economic development staff members, specifically myself, Mikel, Sabrina Teft, Valerie Mamoni, and Michael Young, to create a small business assistance team. In establishing a small business assistance team, we realized that it would be helpful to brand our efforts as a small business assistance center, which is not necessarily a physical building or space, but more of a way to market and advertise our programs and services in a way that is easily understandable and accessible to businesses. So now that I've provided an overview of the 6 components, I am now going to walk you through a workflow diagram which visually depicts how a business will navigate through our proposed continuum of services. So as you can see on the left-hand side, the first step of the process is conducting outreach to generate business assistance referrals. So the city anticipates receiving most of its referrals through the business navigators hired by our 10 PBID partners. The primary responsibility of the navigators is to build trust and establish rapport with small businesses, with the ultimate goal of educating businesses on the benefits of registering and utilizing the city's 311 business portal. Referrals, however, can also be generated by community-based organization partners and even city staff, including council office staff. So the second step in our workflow is basically for a business to register for the city's 311 business portal and submit a business assistance request for service based on their individualized need. The third step is for the city's small business assistance team to triage that request and assign the request to an appropriate TA provider. And it is important to underscore here that the requests for business assistance go directly to a queue managed by the small business assistance team, and it does not go to the general 311 service agents. By designing the workflow in this way, economic development hopes to avoid bottlenecks by having direct oversight of the business assistance queue in 311. So the next step in our workflow is for the business to receive complimentary TA and hopefully get the help they need to resolve their issue. So the fifth step is for the business to access the city's microcapital incentive programs, depending on the recommendations of their TA provider. And the final step, which is embedded throughout the entire workflow, is continuous data evaluation. As I already stated, our entire continuum of services relies on the city's Salesforce 311 business portal to capture and track information throughout the entire workflow. So with that, I'm going to invite Mikel back to the podium to conclude our presentation.
All right, thank you, Ginger, and I'll just get through 4 more slides talking about how SAC IWD really helped us design for diversity, equity, inclusion in this program, and then I'm going to invite Tamika to come up and speak. So as we worked with SIWD, one area that they did lend their support on is around ensuring inclusive and equitable outreach to small and micro businesses. So we're adding OIED's outreach best practices to this pilot. Things like utilizing our community engagement team, shout out to my NDAC co-lead there, Lynette Hall, and all the great things that engagement team does, from their monthly communications toolkit to trusted community ambassadors that can provide translation and interpretation services. Their contracts with ethnic media outlets, we want to make sure we're advertising these programs and services there, to all their sort of local community events that get out to these businesses. We want to create inclusive outreach collateral that is culturally appropriate and in language as requested and obviously as resources are available. We also found that hosting regular office hours in the community is critical to just being accessible, showing a face to the city, and making sure businesses know that we're here to answer their questions. Finally, we want to activate our partner network, meet them where they are by joining them on business walks, sharing resources, and working with their navigators who are multilingual and trusted advocates in their community. Adding to the who of who we're centering with this program, we've created a prioritization criteria. So while the inclusive and outreach engagement methods are about making sure the information is known to those folks who sometimes it doesn't get to, this is about designing the program so if they do apply, we're centering them in receiving these resources. So we've created the prioritization criteria in an effort to collect more data on our impacts and who is being served by our programs, and to center small and micro businesses that need services that, again, typically don't get access to them. So I also just want to be clear that all for-profit businesses in the city of Sacramento are eligible for these services, but we're applying these prioritization criteria, again, to center those folks. And so, for example, in the micro capital programs like fee credits and micro grants, we're going to be using a more narrow definition of small and micro businesses. We're actually pegging it to the California Department of General Services definition, which says that unlike the US SBA definition that small business is 500 employees or more, Cal DGS is 100 or less employees that defines a small business. And then for micro business, it's 25 or less employees with $6 million annual in gross revenue. So just a more narrow definition to really center who we're targeting. In addition, businesses that are located in promise zones, HUD qualified census tracts, in SB 535 disadvantaged communities, or even ones that are in linguistic isolation areas with a score of 50 or above, we want to make sure that these resources are getting to them. So we believe these prioritization criteria, along with additional outreach supports, will help reach businesses in these underserved and disadvantaged areas and help us collect the data that make us competitive for future funding. So speaking of future funding, to be competitive and to respond to one of our lessons learned through our past small business assistance, we've put forward a set of initial outputs, outcomes, and impacts. These initial set of outcomes can be found in the table in your staff report, but some examples of the outputs are cases resolved and hours of one-on-one consultation. Some of the outcomes are loan and grants secured, the number of and the amount of those loans and grants, and jobs created. And some of the impacts can be, how access to capital has become easier for businesses, or have vacancy rates sort of dropped in the city. So we know we need to build a robust monitoring and evaluation program that sets us up for showing impact for this pilot program and communicating to our federal, state, and philanthropic funders that we are competitive for this grant funds and we have a need and we'd like to scale up. So to that end, we are we're recommending to hire an evaluation consultant to support this work. So as you can see on the left, we're recommending hiring this consultant that can help us design a monitoring and evaluation program and keep these future funding opportunities in mind so that we are competitive for them and can sustain potentially beyond the 2-year pilot program. On the left-hand side, I just wanted to say that in addition, SAC IWD was influential in proposing some innovative programs that we'd like to explore within this pilot and could be potentially future programs of the center. So we're recommending hiring a feasibility consultant as well to explore potential new small services like the ones you see there. A legacy business preservation program that really provides tailored and packaged support to businesses that have been around in our city for decades, provide sort of a cultural community fabric and an amenity. How can we support those businesses? A heritage tourism program where we're asking folks globally, nationally, within the state to come visit Sacramento and its hidden gems in the neighborhood, but also our sort of local Sacramentans to check out other parts of the city and see what there is to offer. And finally, a social enterprise incubator program. We know there are businesses out there that have a mission and purpose driven. They also want to provide a public and community benefit. So how are we supporting those programs and incubating programs to start off as a B corporation or as an employee-owned corporation or a cooperative? So the feasibility consultant will look at these models from other cities, the resources it takes to implement, and the impact that these programs could have in Sacramento. So finally, those are the next steps. I'm not going to go over these, but I did want to invite Tamika to talk from SAC IWD up to the podium, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's of course.
Okay, great. I just want to, as she's coming up, just thank SAC IWD again for all their work. Tamika, Tammy, Matt, Amy, who's not here today. So thank you.
Partnership. Thank you.
Let's bring my crew up with me. our small crew. There's more of us in the back. Hello, Council Mayor. My name is Tamika Lecluse. I'm the Executive Director of Sacramento Community Land Trust. I'm also the Vice Chair of Sacramento Investment Without Displacement. I'm joined by Rashid, Tammy Dramer, Rashid of Lula, Tammy Dramer of Organized Sacramento, and Matt Baker of ECOS. And I just want to thank city staff for all the work and dedication. This was 3 years in the making. This came, as Mikhail said, out of the UC Davis Aggie Square Settlement Agreement that this council needed to take up this item. So I'm glad that we're finally getting to it towards the end of 2024 here. Given that this crew, our team, and our organizations, SIWD makes up multiple organizations, including Sacramento ACT, UPD, CWA, ECOS, ACE, United Latinos, Lula, Organized SAC, SAC CLT, Everyday Impact Consulting, Civic Thread, SAC Housing Alliance, and Building Healthy Communities. We don't do this work alone. We do this work as a team with you all and with the residents and businesses of the city of Sacramento. And our work on this, our diligent work with Mikhail and Ginger and the city staff over 3 years really does demonstrate our commitment, but also your guys' commitment to our small businesses. We're hearing a lot right now about them, especially on the national stage, and we know that the small businesses and micro businesses are the backbones of our communities, and we want to keep them here. We do this in the spirit of business stabilization, and we see this as an opportunity to bring more resources, to bring more protections, to expand upon what you're doing, but also be really critical of the things that aren't working. The data collection in this piece is what was really missing. When we came to the city staff, we said, well, how are your programs doing? Where's the data? There wasn't any. And so the data piece, the language justice, the community navigators, Lynette's NDAT team, these are the folks, these are the things that are gonna come together and really make this program work. But this is not where we want this to end. We want the city of Sacramento to be bold, to be brave, go out and fight for that additional funding, be more aligned with where the state is on protecting our small and local businesses. We hope that in the future that we can come back with more protections for our brick and mortar businesses, for our nonprofit organizations, for us all. I want to give a moment maybe to Matt or Tammy to say a couple of things. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Matthew Baker. I'm a board member of SIWD and a member of the team that was working on this. And I just want to reiterate Tamika's comments and SIWG's support of this program. That we think it was really worthwhile work done and well done and well thought out in its crafting. You know, not only do we think that this is a great economic decision for the city to help keep local dollars circulating locally, but from a Sacramento investment without displacement perspective, we really do think that support of our small local businesses is one of the best ways that we can, weave and reinforce and maintain community fabric, especially for our most marginalized and vulnerable communities. I also want to reemphasize our appreciation of the work of the staff, of Mikhail and Ginger and the team, and their openness to work with SIWD. We think that's really representative of the kind of collaboration we've wanted with the city from the start. Excuse me. And since this did come out of the settlement agreement around Aggie Square, there were things that we were thinking about at that time in the context of a community benefits agreement for a major catalytic investment like that. And we think that there are further things that are left on the table here that were outside of the scope of this program that would require further action from the city. And we want to continue to work with the city to think about how we could evolve these protections for our small businesses. And one of the first opportunities to do that would be hopefully an upcoming, community benefits ordinance, agreement ordinance that we hope is going to be coming before you soon. And also, there's thinking going on in the state legislature about this these issues too. There's, thinking about policy around commercial tenancy protections in the way that we've more commonly talked about residential tenancy protections. And so I think this is a fantastic start, and that with the adoption of this program, I think that the city of Sacramento is greatly positioned to be a leader in this area. So we're proud to do this work and are committed to keep on working with you. Strongly urge an aye vote.
Yeah, just real quickly, I just want to reemphasize how important this data piece is and the authentic cultural outreach, right? Because if we don't know who's out there, then we're not going to know how we're going to apply for those federal and state grants. Depending on what happens in the election next week, it may rain for Sacramento with small business growth, right? And we have to be prepared to be able to draw down federal and state dollars, and we don't want to be caught off guard. So we need the numbers, and we need the demographics, and if we don't have that, then we're not prepared to draw down those dollars. So that's really, really important. So I also urge your aye vote, Rashid.
So just to wrap up, we just want to thank you all for letting us have city staff for 3 years. We'll continue to work with them as well as our small business leaders and residents, because this didn't just come out of the air. This was from survey responses and resident feedback and small business owners saying we need more. We need the city to do more. And so we thank you for taking this up. We think this is, again, a great demonstration of how government and community can come together for something positive that can grow and can evolve and can help our most vulnerable business communities. Thank you.
Thank you. I just can't. We'll turn it over to the public and my colleagues, but I can't tell you just how happy this conversation makes me, because it is to see the community that was once the litigant against the city, but not really against the city, trying to make the city perform better, now do better, working so closely with the city team on the principles and underlying pieces of this settlement agreement in such a collaborative and team-oriented way is just exactly what we all wanted to come out of this. So thank you. Let's hear from the public.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 9 speakers on this item: Kathy Rodriguez Aguirre, Selena Pryor, Jay King, Bill Nollington, and then Rashid Sadiq.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Rodriguez Aguirre. I am the president and CEO for the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And I've also had the pleasure of working with the city team very closely for the past year and a half. Ginger and Mikal, Michael and Denise, they're probably on my speed dial. That's how close we've gotten in the work that we've been able to do together. So I really want to emphasize, how wonderful the city team has been and the partnership that we have. And saying that, and seeing this whole presentation that came to be today, I think this is, in its heart, a good thing. I think it's good for the city to show that they have a focus and a support in our small businesses. They're more than our backbone, they're the engine that is running our city. And many of our diverse corridors that didn't close during the recession, that didn't close during pandemic, that's where our tax dollars that we're looking at right now in the city came from. So as someone who's working with the businesses day in and day out, one of the things I would like to stress too is as we look at these diagrams to remember that we also need to be a little bit nimble. Realize that businesses, when they come in, sometimes they're needing something right away, and sometimes they're going to come back to you at a different time. So I'm looking for a little flexibility in that. And I also want to include in the support in there, especially the ethnic chambers, because when we have marketing out there, it doesn't stop. We get people coming from everywhere. So our work actually increases with anything that comes through. But having said that, I think this is a good start, and I think it's a really good place to be, and I can't commend the city enough for the work that they've been doing, especially out in the Northgate corridor with us. So with that, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Selena Pryor.
Good evening. I am really excited about this, the establishment of the Small Business Assistance Assistance Center pilot. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. BSBA, the Black Small Business Association of California, has seen the powerful impact of CARES and ARPA programs in supporting small businesses during tough times, especially during the pandemic when we started. We're extremely supportive of Agenda Item 18 and its ARPA-based funding priorities, which offer a smart, balanced approach to strengthening small businesses, PBIDs, and technical assistance providers, which we are. The proposed pilot programs, including funding for the different components that were mentioned before, will empower us to better serve local businesses who are also categorized as socially, economically disadvantaged individuals, and will foster sustainable growth within our communities. We look forward to collaborating with the Office of Innovation and Economic Development and city staff to develop inclusive strategies that promote equitable economic revitalization across Sacramento. We respectfully request your support for this initiative, as it represents a crucial step towards building a resilient, thriving community. We want to thank city staff for their efforts. Also, council members Jennings and Kaplan for your leadership. And we are extremely excited again about the establishment of this Small Business Assistance Center here in the city of Sacramento, and available to discuss how we can further contribute to the pilot success. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Jay King, then Bill Knowlton.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay King, the President and CEO of the California Black Chamber of Commerce and 97.5 FM KDEE, Sacramento's #1 community radio station. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to the City of Sacramento, Mayor Steinberg, and the entire City Council for your commitment to supporting small businesses in our community. The creation of the Small Business Assistance Program is a vital step towards fostering entrepreneurship and economic growth in our city. Your efforts not only provide essential resources and guidance, but also demonstrates a deep understanding of the challenges that small businesses face, especially in today's rapidly changing landscape. This program will empower entrepreneurs, create jobs, and enhance the vibrant culture that makes Sacramento unique. Your leadership inspires confidence in our local economy and encourages innovation. Thank you for prioritizing the needs of small businesses and for believing in the potential of our community. Together, we can build a brighter future for Sacramento, and I thank you all for being the leadership of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Bill Knowlton, Rashid Sadiq, then Matthew Baker.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would like to take a minute to acknowledge and to thank Sabrina Teft and the entire economic development team for their support in making inclusive economic development a reality on Mac Road. The Small Business Assistance Program will be instrumental in making sure the community we serve has every tool available to be successful in an ever-changing business climate. With the help of the Small Business Assistance Program, we will have a business navigator that will create a direct link to our city partners and the services they provide, such as 311. We will conduct business walks and business events which will address the specific needs of our community, and we will also use this to purchase a used maintenance vehicle to enhance our ability to keep our district clean and safe for the people who live, shop, and work in the Macro District. In closing, I would like to thank all the city partners, city council members, especially Council Member Mai Vang, who represents us, as well. And I wanted to take a minute while I was here to thank our SACPD partners. I know that's not really part of what we're talking about, but the efforts of Lieutenant Zach Eaton and Captain Zach Bales, along with Mai Vang, always a phone call away, and just wanted to say thank you.
Good evening, Sacramento City Council members, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Corey DeRue, and I am the Executive Director of the Florin Road Partnership, representing and supporting approximately 525 businesses and 320 property owners in South Sacramento. We are here tonight to thank you for the ARPA Recovery Grant Fund. This grant will provide much-needed funds for many facets of our programming, a new maintenance vehicle. We've been around since 1997. This is something we've never been able to afford before, so this is quite something for us. This will also allow us to purchase new maintenance equipment and, of course, have a dedicated city business navigator, which is so important. The additional security hours allows us to flex our needs around the demands of our small businesses and especially our micro businesses who don't have the budget for private security in their businesses, without which we would not be able to provide any of these services. Finally, the Florin Road Business Corridor would not be where we are without our law enforcement partners, as Bill alluded to, and our friends at the city, notably District 5 and District 8, as Florin Road runs north and south of both districts. We thank you for believing in and investing in our flourishing Florin future. Thank you very much.
Good evening, I'm Devin Strecker, Executive Director and resident of the River District, and I can't really add much more than what you already heard from Florin Road and Mack Road, but River District and our 830 acres, including 3 miles of riverfront, is just very grateful for this. Our small businesses are still struggling from COVID. I know for most people it's a memory, but for our businesses it's very much still an active struggle. So thank you so much for investing in our small businesses. We greatly appreciate it.
And Florin Road has some gifts for everybody.
Oh, you brought gifts. Oh, man.
Our next speaker is Rashid Sadiq, then Matthew Baker, then Khalil Ferguson.
I'm here today just to, in support of the small business initiative that was just approved. I think it was great. A lot of our Black and brown communities suffered through the COVID, and now this is a lifeline that they are provided and hopefully will allow them to flourish. And I also want to just thank the SIWD crew for staying steadfast on the mission. It's been 3 long years, but we're getting close, and this is a great win. And I want to thank the city staff for working with us and being patient, and as we're being patient. But this is a great opportunity for the city of Sacramento and for some of our low-income communities that depend on these small businesses on a daily basis. So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Matthew Baker. Good. Khalil Ferguson. Following Khalil is Marbea Sala, and James Allison will be the final speaker.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Khalil Ferguson. I am a 3L at McGeorge School of Law. I am also the president and CEO of nonprofit called Thematic Core Alliance. We are a legal aid organization, and if you look at all of our programming, the underlying theory of our programming is fostering economic mobility in communities that have been disadvantaged and creating generational wealth. If you're familiar with my work at Sac State, I studied economics and poli-sci and now pursuing a corporate attorney at McGeorge upon passing the bar. You will see that my research really focuses on inclusive economic development. That is reflected as my time as a Measure U committee member in the youth seat as well. So I really am supportive of this measure. I wanted to bring to this council's attention that SB 1103 was adopted by the California State Legislature, which provides incremental protections for small business owners in the commercial setting. I know it's hard to provide commercial protections or legal protections for commercial tenants. However, that bill at least provides some sort of disclosure and transparency requirements when increasing rent and hidden fees for small tenants. And in our experience and in our research, one of the significant impediments to growing a small business is not having legal protection. So as reflected in the report on your guys' dais or in front of you all, one of the significant parts of this program provides legal assistance, but specifically lease assistance. And that is usually the biggest barrier to even keeping your business when gentrification encroaches on specifically Del Paso Heights right now. And if you look at where gentrification is headed, one of the biggest ways that we lose a lot of our small businesses is because of the lack of access to attorneys or knowledge of the law. So having this small business center will greatly reflect in our ability to keep and retain our small businesses as Sacramento develops and grows in the near future. Thank you all.
Thank you for your comments. Marbella, then James Allison.
Good evening. I'm here as the president of Garland Northgate Neighborhood Association. And first, I just want to say thank you to Ginger, to Mikel, to Michael, the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber, because over last 2 years, they've been instrumental in working with our small businesses on a variety of issues and getting grants and assistance, and it's made a difference. And I'm here because I found out by mistake, kind of haphazardly, about this pilot program and the proposal that's before you, because I called Ginger yesterday, and I was asking for guidance on how to help a community member who wants to open up another restaurant that had to close during COVID. And he asked me, where could I go? Does the city have any programs? I need some support because I really want to move into Jim Boy's Tacos that is going to be closing their doors. And I was at a loss because that's not my expertise. I'm expert in a lot of things, but not in that. And so I called Ginger, and then when she told me about this center, and I got really excited because this is exactly the type of resource that our community needs, our small businesses need, and that while the Hispanic Chamber has been a great partner for us and they've been a blessing in our community, I think that having a center where all these different components come together in one center, so it's not in a silo or it's broken apart or they go here and go there, will be beneficial. And I, in my community, could direct, hey, you have a center here that will be able to offer you assistance and guidance and resources. So thank you. I applaud this effort. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. James Allison will be our final speaker on this item.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is James Allison, Executive Director of the Power In Alliance, representing over 30,000 jobs and 1,500 businesses here in Sacramento. And I should have just come up with Bill a little bit earlier. I'm here today to offer our support for the Small Business Assistance Center pilot and the allocation of necessary funding needed to support this program and the businesses within it. The challenges facing Sacramento's businesses are myriad and certainly not limited to our city. While major employers nationwide have made great efforts to cope with the economic realities we are all facing, it is the small business community that has faced the greatest challenge in finding similar support. That is why community organizations like our PBIDs play a critical role in providing much of the needed backing to contend with these challenges of today. Our community businesses, the mom and pop restaurateurs, retailers, and service providers that create a robust and thriving city must contend with the rising costs and underlying challenges that characterize the current broader economic climate, unable to dedicate the considerable time and resources needed to create safe and vibrant streetscapes and corridors and welcome new patrons and visitation. We are able to close this gap by directly undertaking many of these efforts to support these businesses, creating an environment where they can thrive by undertaking programs which seek to create vibrancy, provide visibility, and ensure safety, and connecting them with a litany of programs that exist to bolster our small business community. The proposed program directly supports the continuation of these efforts by both directly and indirectly supporting these initiatives. We ask that the council continue to support this direction and the critical work being done to uplift Sacramento's small business community. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
Terrific. Thank you all for coming out. Really, really important to hear the voices of the community, especially the small business community. You all have done so much and continue to do for our city. Let me turn it over to the members. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Thank you, and I want to echo the thanks. You know, when I campaigned in 2020, pre-COVID, I was talking a lot about the idea of a small business ombudsman position at the city, right? Like there needs to be a place that someone can call if it's a permit issue, if it's a tax issue, if it's a question about whatever, and know that they're going to get to the right place. And so I really want to thank you for making this happen because it's called something different, but it's exactly that and more with the funding, with the technical assistance, with all of the work that you've put into really designing something something intentional. I'm really, really pleased with that. And I want to give props to Khalil for raising the legal protections for commercial tenants. I had this grand idea when I came into office that when we extended the tenant protection program for residents, that we would add it for commercial tenants. And I was super bummed to realize that we couldn't do that because state law preempted us. So thank you for raising that issue because it came up a lot, especially during COVID, especially after COVID. A lot of the small businesses we lost in my district, a good chunk of those were because of rent disputes and issues with getting paid back rent and figuring out agreements with their landlords, which wouldn't have been an issue if we'd been able to protect them. So thank you for raising that. I do have two things that I would like to direct, add to a motion, et cetera. The first thing is I want to appreciate that we're learning the lesson of what worked during COVID. But part of what I think this is missing are the chambers, particularly the ethnic chambers, and the role that they filled in ensuring that that outreach was happening to small businesses that don't traditionally get outreach to, particularly those that aren't in PBID areas, which we know a lot of small businesses in our city don't benefit from being a part of a PBID area. And so I would really like, under the bucket that talks about PBID assistance, I want it to be PBID and chamber assistance. Like, I want that to be an open venue, and maybe they want it and maybe they don't, but I think what I saw with that inclusive economic development team and what they put together, and frankly what they did with an incredibly small amount of money, Kathy Rodriguez-Aguirre, I mean, it wasn't a lot of money, but they were able to hire the linguistically, culturally competent navigators to really target those businesses that had no idea what was going on during COVID. And so I think that would be really important. I know the PBIDs could partner with them, obviously, and there's relationships there, but I just think it would be great if they were explicitly included in that bucket so that they could access those resources on their own as well. Because I don't see, like, if, downtown partnership, like, why would they hire someone to do outreach on Northgate, right? I think that's something that we're just missing in this proposal that I want to include. And then the second point around 311, which I love, we tell everyone to call 311 for everything. I would love for there to be an additional number that someone can call instead of 311, and just as a way to contact you all directly, because sometimes, 311 operators are handling everything from my trash didn't get picked up to that tree needs to get trimmed to, like, hey, I've got a crisis. And so, like, I think that it could easily potentially get lost, and I'm not saying that that's intentional, but someone just might not say the right words, and a 311 operator is going to be like, oh, I think you want to talk to code enforcement. And they're like, no, I actually want to talk to the center whose name I can't remember. So I would love for there to be, like, an additional number that they know they can call. And maybe it's not staffed all the time. Maybe it's just a voicemail, but at least it's something that you all can access directly and say, oh no, we're missing somebody, and put it in. I know it's harder with Salesforce to not have it start at 311, but it's also not impossible for us to put data into Salesforce otherwise. So, like, those would be my two additions. And so I'd like to make the motion to pass this today with those two changes, adding chambers to the PBID assistance item and adding a second direct number to the technical assistance bucket so that folks can access you more directly. And again, just want to give you all kudos for once again showing how nimble the economic development outreach, community outreach team can be. You worked with a lot of different stakeholders and a lot of people to make this make sense for what our community needs. And I'm just really excited to see it move forward. So that's my motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you. I think good suggestions. Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes.
Thank you. At the League of Cities conference that I went to last week, I went to a public law and financing and economic development workshop. And they had people raise their hands about how many staff people they have in economic development. And there were so many cities that said 2, 3. I texted Howard, I was like, I'm pretty sure we have a little bit more than 20. And it's true. Because Sacramento invests in our small businesses. We invest in getting more economic engines so that we can continue to grow our revenues and support our commercial corridors. I used to have a small business with my brother. We sold the food truck now, but we kept the rights. But we want to relaunch at some point in life once we have more time. But it's something that, like, it's tough. It's tough to navigate it, to know how to go about processes, permitting at the city, having a different health permit for the county versus the other county of West Sac, YOLO, it's a very complicated process. So I just want to thank you guys for your tremendous work. And I want to echo Councilmember Valenzuela's comments on, like, the small business, like, loan assistance, not loan assistance, but like rental assistance, and making sure that we can help people understand their lease agreements. I know that's something that Kathy Rodriguez with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has been doing so much on Northgate. That has been tremendously helpful. And Councilmember Valenzuela, I actually had kind of a similar idea about 311, because right now our small businesses call, either my office, Eduardo, my district director, or 311, but it'd be nice to have a 311 just for our small business owners, so that they can communicate with one another about what they're seeing, because the best protection that we can have is each other, is keeping an eye on each other's property and helping each other out with advice and with recommendations of what's working and what's not working. And so kind of similar to what you said, whatever economic development can come up with is something I'd be happy. So I'd be happy to second your motion.
Thank you.
And yeah, I just want to give a kudos to all the people here from GNNA, Garland Northgate Community Association, and Hispanic Chamber, and Economic Development Team. I have spent almost every week I have a Zoom with you. Whether it's about our taco plaza, our 2 rounds of small business assistance, banners on our street poles, street lights, P-bid conversations in the works right now. We're creating the wish list for our businesses on Northgate, City of Festivals grants. Like I said, workshops on financial literacy, Visit Sacramento, putting us on the map, and highlighting our Northgate businesses before all the concerts started at Discovery Park. That was really exciting for us. And it shows that the investment that we make into our community can attract other dollars. Our Senator Angelique Ashby gave us $100,000 to help us with the Taco Plaza. And it shows that what we're doing is working, and hopefully it'll continue to attract more monies, and we'll continue applying for more monies so that we can really make our commercial corridors the place to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank everyone here for the execution of this component of the Community Benefits Agreement. And, I want to also not only thank all of the community partners and yourself, Ms. Mayor, but I want to do a recognition to former council member Jay Chenier as well in this. It was, I remember those early conversations on Zoom with Matt and folks when we were trying to figure out how to get our Zoom to work. And just at the beginning of COVID, that led us to this and talking about how do we piece together a functional business assistance program. And obviously the housing piece was on the first priority that we wanted to tackle for obvious reasons. But this was a fundamental piece there. So I think it's exciting to see that we're getting to this point. The complementary technical assistant piece was a big part of that conversation early on, just because the challenge is those small businesses are trying to keep their doors open. They're trying to do their current, meeting the current life demands, and don't even have the bandwidth to go out and do the extra research to find out these tools. So with that, and I also finally wanted to also thank Ginger Waygraph for a wonderful presentation. I think this is your first time presenting, and would expect nothing less from a alum of the Masters of Public Policy Administration at Sac State. Stingers up.
I just want to...
Strength of our Economic Development Department.
Well, I just want to end on that point that you just made, and I think Mayor Pro Tem Talamantes made as well, the perspective of going to the League of Cities meetings and seeing that in cities, we've had this discussion all the time, that cities are municipal corporations that have traditional and very vital service functions, right? Public safety, that's the way cities are built. And yet I've always argued, and we've all, I think, really moved in this direction, that for big cities, modern cities, cities that want to grow, cities that care about equity and opportunity, that we need to do that, the basic services, and so much more. And the fact that through hard times, the pandemic and even a bit of an economic downturn, in part because we were smart about how to invest the ARPA money, in part because we passed that Measure U again, that second half of Measure U, we now have this robust economic development department that is able to, Michael Jasso and Howard Chant, thank you, that is able to have the expertise to work on some of the biggest deals and projects that require that kind of attention. and we are able to provide the leadership to work with all of our communities and our small businesses towards this aspiration of genuine inclusive economic development. And of course, we're never there, right? We never have done it all. And that's never, but we need to keep striving because the ARPA money is going to run out. And that's one of the things it is, well, it's running out. It was one time. And man, are we stretching it? And, you know, we spent, what, 80% of our ARPA money on the community. And that was an intentional decision of this group of leaders. And then a great staff that takes it to heart with a community organization that is fighting in the right way for the right things. We can achieve great things. But now, how are we going to sustain this into the future? Over the next 2 to 5 to 10 years. Don't have to come with those answers tonight. But this is too good to let go. And we're going to have to figure that part out. Great work, everybody. And thank you. We have a motion. Did you have one more? Go ahead, Eric. Yeah.
No, thank you, Mayor. I mean, you sparked something in that hopefully, you know, as the next council comes in, that we think through, because it was, I think, 2018 where we made the conscious decision to add, I think it was 10 FTEs in the Economic Development Department. Might have been 7, but I remember it was a significant jump. And there's one, just adding numbers to it, but also in the recruitment of our department, that it also reflect our city. And I think that is an important aspect, that not only growing an economic development department, because our strength in finding the solutions is in our human capital, and also that the capital that is inside our city is directly reflective and connected to our city. And that I hope that as we get into tougher times, it's really quick to all of a sudden figure out, okay, where can we shave off the edges? And I know one opportunity was to cut out the NDAT in the last budget cycle, and we put it back in. There's tough choices. There's no easy choice. But I think this is one where, you know, making sure that those decisions that help us generate more money for the purposes of providing for our constituents, you know, is something that we take to heart. So, sorry for the additional, but you sparked something that I think that
Anytime I spark something, you're welcome to speak again. Hey, we've got a motion and a second here. Great discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose, abstain. Thank you. Thank you all very much. That great work, staff. Thank you. So that concludes the formal agenda for this evening. Do we have council comments first? Why don't we do that? Are there council ideas and questions, Mayor Pro Tem?
This pen.
Yes.
Is great. Just kidding. That's not my comment. I had a sideshow in city manager. I had a sideshow in my district over the weekend, and I know I've asked on the dais twice to be able to have a sideshow workshop, because I know a lot of my council colleagues are working on various variations of policy. We all have ideas and would love to get something on the books within the next 2 weeks to be able to discuss sideshows and what we can do.
I'll work with the mayor on that, but we have something in the works already that's going to bypass Law and Ledge and come back to the full council.
Okay, is there a date or?
I don't have a date yet. I'll get something and report back to the rest of the council.
Okay, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've been requesting it since summer, so just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Valenzuela?
Yes, and mine is also for the city manager, so sorry. So I saw that there's a violence prevention summit this Friday, and I'm really hoping that we can get a council workshop with the Office of Violence Prevention soon to talk about their efforts to address gun violence from within the police department. And I've also requested, I think this is my 3rd time since July that we have this discussion, but I really hope we can schedule that soon. It's an important and emerging topic that's affecting all of our districts every week.
I'm sorry I'm getting up here. I just wanted to go thank a few people from the community too, but definitely.
Yep.
Thank you.
We're coming to a not abrupt, but the weeks are shrinking here between now and December the 10th, especially with the election next week and then the Thanksgiving week. So that leaves us 3 meetings after this, plus December the 10th, which I guess would be potentially an afternoon meeting. So I want to agendize everything.
The
over
sideshows
next
are
3
happening every
weeks.
weekend, so we got to make sure we address it.
What's that? Marathon meetings, okay. We're going to do our best. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to do my AB 1234 since I had to leave last week for a family emergency. Went to the League of California Cities with my colleagues, attended board meetings, connected with other council members on what they've done, spent a fair amount of time with the attorneys learning about new ordinances and laws and things that they're working with in other cities, passed on a lot of questions to our city attorney, of how we can do things in Sacramento, but it was a great trip, and I appreciate being down there to learn more.
Excellent. All right. How many comments on items not on the agenda?
I have 7 speakers.
Okay.
The first is Jared Landreth, then Rev, then Rebecca Sandoval, then Vanessa Avias.
Hi, Susanna.
Happy anniversary.
Happy 30th.
Good afternoon, City Council members and Mayor Steinberg. I lived out on Altos Avenue, and you guys have done a very good job of cleaning that area up out there with all the tents are gone now, which has made it very safe now. There's more people biking out there on the trail, so that situation has gotten a lot better. So I appreciate somebody doing something about that. And that's a long time coming. But as far as that goes, we're still trying to figure out about, it looks like an illegal gambling that's over on Traction, that's over on, Fade Masters in this barbershop. So we're still trying to figure out what's going on with that. I've talked to the police, they know about it. I've talked to some investigators about it, they know about it. I've called Mario Lara, he knows about it. So we're trying to get that situation taken care of because that's a really big deal. So we really need to get that taken care of. But other than that, everything is looking better out there. It seems like the area is getting cleaner. It's getting safer, which is better. We still have some issues. I was on Channel 40 News with the shooting that we had out there. As I came outside the house, somebody had shot somebody right in front of me, and they staggered across the street and died right in front of me. That's something I don't like to see. Being from Brentwood, this is amazing out here. I've really never seen as much homeless out here than any city I've ever lived in. It's a major problem out here, and I understand it. And it doesn't take, it takes a while to get it done. I get it. But something's got to be done soon because, to me, we've got millionaires, billionaires in this country, and we have people homeless. There's no reason for that at all. And my creative way of doing this is, hey, let's start getting the millionaires start paying their share. Let's have a tax write-off for the millionaires.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Rev.
I think that was MHSA.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. I've been on a timeout because of an accident that occurred. Knocked over by a car by a doctor in the ministry. You just don't think that, you know what I mean? You think they love me because I'm out in these streets serving God. Just yesterday, I ran across a gentleman. He has a colonoscopy, if I said it correct. Living in his car. He's about 75 years old. So I'm doing my best to help get him off the streets. But for those that don't know me up there, I run Prayer and God Ministry, Homeless for Heaven. I have solutions. I just need money and funding and backing to end some of the homelessness that I know. Because I speak to them, I live around them. So I know what they're going through and I know what they're capable of. So my mission is to put them to work. I can line up most of the people out of jobs and they got a, I guess you can say, an addictive habit that I can drug test them. I know the majority of homeless people out there on something, but they still work every day. They make things happen. So my whole thing with them is to put them to work instead of sitting around all day. They can clean up wherever they're at. They just need the city help in order to make that happen. Because if they clean it up, I want them to put it in the middle of the street if it got to, in bags, so to get picked up on a daily. But I need help. I'm not just out here just to earn fame or nothing like that, no fortune either. I just want to see that the homeless come to an end in some different kind of demeanor than it is. I mean, the city can do a whole lot more. There's a lot of homes that's open. I'm not pushing things on homeless now. No, just go break into a house so you can stay there. I can say that to them and they don't do it tomorrow, you know? Because really, it's over 20-something homes per homeless person that's available. And they're just out there in these streets. And right now, you can't have a tent. They're out there sleeping around in just a blanket looking like a bag of dirty laundry on the street. I don't even know. I'm pulling over to everything I see these days. And
Thank you for your
I'm just here to
comments.
make...
Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Rebecca Sandoval, and then Vanessa.
I saw tonight you recognized Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm a breast cancer survivor, along with 4 other cancers. A lot of you don't know that, but I come up here all the time because I love my community and I care. Joshua House Volunteer Hospice was honored as 2024 Nonprofit of Distinction by Assemblymember Kevin McCarty. Although Joshua House is nothing more than a lot filled with dirt 3 yards from Garden Valley Elementary School. In spite of receiving $450,500 of Northgate Boulevard economic recovery funds and a 50-year lease at $1 a year and breaking ground in June 2022, Joshua House is not operating. Joshua House webpage gives false information appearing it is operating. How can this be a nonprofit of distinction? This nonprofit that refuses to produce a good neighbor policy or answer many questions from the school district or the community. Recently, I learned that the county has approved $1,137,788 in funding to complete Joshua House. It is concerning that Joshua House, which essentially is a medical facility, that the County Board of Supervisors sees this as a way to address the needs of persons existing homeless coming off of the Parkway. Is this all smoke and mirrors? Is this a homeless shelter or a hospice facility? I come to this council often to express my concerns to 5 former school board members concerning Joshua House. Councilman Jennings, you have a contract with Twin Rivers. Make some money from us. Never heard anything from you. The effects of Joshua House on our youngest learners. This council.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Vanessa Alvillas, then Ron Elmsley.
Good evening. Okay, so 30 years ago, Foodco donated 2 lots to the public good of Northgate Boulevard. One of those lots is currently being occupied. The other one is still open. That facility, I propose, should be used for a community center or for a park or a library. However, the Parks Commissioner of District 3 was asked about that. He had said that it was brought up 7 years ago. However, it was shot down by the public, but that's an erroneous statement. That was not true. So technically, it's still available. However, the sad part is that there is up the street on Northgate Boulevard, there's the hotels where there's plenty of homeless children are living, children. But the thing is that their playing facilities, they have none. They're playing in the streets and in the parking lots. And unfortunately, 2 things. 1, that affects the safety of the children, and that affects the businesses, okay? However, if we did have a park or a community center up the street, it would put a safe habitat to have these children playing, to have these children have a safe haven to go to. So what I propose is a positive. I say that we bring a positive, bring a community center to Northgate Boulevard where we do need one. We need a facility where we can come and people can visit anytime, having different programs, being able to have different opportunities there, or a park, a beautiful park. So I just wanted to drop that off with you guys today. Take it for food for thought, see what you think. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Ron Elmsley, then Marbella Sala, then Jeffrey Tardigia.
Okay, you folks are too much. Do you really believe your own lies? It just kind of builds up. The one thing that I'm amazed at is your city attorney got a great award, and there was dozens of people back here backing her up, saying how great she is. What happened to the Jay Chenier Curtis Park fiasco? They nailed you in court. You had to pay all this money and buy this property you didn't want. Didn't your city attorney say anything, advise you, or did you completely ignore it? What's going on? You folks are just, you're amazing. If you weren't in politics, you would fail. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Marbella Sala.
I'm here to just say thank you all for the City of Festivals grants. That has been such a great program for our communities. So this Saturday, because we received City of Festivals money, we had a wonderful celebration in Northgate Park for our neighborhood and our community, and that was the Dia de los Muertos. And without these City of Festivals grants, our community would not have been able to come together, have fun, have families, enjoying music, food. We even saw Coco the movie. So it's been a great, the last 2 years, and it's been a great program for our neighborhoods and our community. And I know, and I'm hoping that they continue, because during these tough times, we also need to celebrate. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. I have two more speakers, Jeffrey Tardigia and then Alexander Hampton.
Well, Mr. DES, I remember the first time you came into council, and when I said pit, you had no idea what I was talking about. Right now, my number one interest is finding out if you will talk with the city police department so that November, December, January, and February, dealing with what we'll call enforcement activities and homeless activities, gets reported to the COC. You know, you have had a, quote, bulletin board, but it doesn't seem to have the accurate information. I have seen how Kathy Maples have managed to get the, should we say, settlements around the YX location that was designed to accommodate moving people from homelessness to transit to the other aspect. But I'm still sitting here wondering how many failures is sitting on this council. The other thing I'm going to ask is, what in the world is going on with the 3rd Street motel over there? It's been vacant for how long, and what is the ultimate settlement going to be with that? I'm sorry that, you know, it's always at the end that you do public comment, and so there's very little reaction, and it seems like half the eyes don't pay attention to what is going on for public comment. The reason I'm here tonight is because when I tried looking online, your services, just like your website, had malfunctioning going on. So that's why I'm here now for the time. And my time is up.
Thank you for your comments. Our final speaker is Alexander Hampton.
Hello, Mayor, Council.
Alexander Hampton, NorCal Carpenters. First of all, I just want to thank all you guys for, investing in the community here in Sacramento. I grew up here in Sacramento. I've been here since 1978. Went to Luther Burbank High School. Very much involved in everything in Sacramento. And just being from the Carpenters Union, I know you guys, heard us speak before up here about the apprenticeship and the wages and, just being fair to the workers out there. I just want to just thank you guys. You guys are doing a great job, and I really appreciate your work you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much. I know Councilmember Tao has very sad, as they always are, adjourn in memory, and then we'll adjourn the meeting.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Pull up the photo. I wanted to adjourn tonight's council meeting in memory of Adrian Perez. I got to know Adrian 12 years ago working on the council. Adrian is a North Sacramento resident, advocate, community leader. He started one of the founders of the Sac Latino Roundtable, Sacramento Taco Fest, Vida del Oro Foundation. 5 years ago, Adrian came to me and Adrian said, "Hey, Sean, let's celebrate the centennial." And this week we're working with Mina, Adrian's wife, on the centennial. And he passes this Saturday, and it's just so heartbreaking. North Sacramento lost a voice, an advocate, and and Mina is still going strong and celebrating this taco festival in the centennial this weekend. And so, in Adrian's memory, I would like to close tonight in his honor. I believe some of my colleagues want to make a couple comments as well.
Mayor Pro Tem.
What to say about Adrian? Sorry, I said what to say about Adrian. He was kind. He was direct. He loved the community. He connected the Latino community even when we disagreed, and he made us talk about tough issues. He made us reach across the aisle and say, "Hey, what do we have in common? What do we not?" And I had a chance to speak to Mina over the weekend, and he said to her that he loves our community and that he wants us to keep fighting for our neighborhoods. And her moving forward with these events, I think, is exactly what he would wish for Mina and for the entire family to do. And I'm just going to really miss him. He's someone that I can call and say, "Hey, Adrian, what do you think about this?" And he'll give me his honest opinion. He was on my speed dial. And so I'm really sad that he has left us. But I'm very grateful and thankful for his mentorship, his leadership, and his love for North Sac.
Nicely said. Thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for bringing this adjourn in memory, Councilmember Tao. Adrian has definitely left an influence amongst the Latino community, and when I first had a chance to meet him, I was a college student, and he and his brother were, the creators of the Latino Journal, and organizing not only here locally but at the state level, bringing attention to many issues, and always checking elected officials to making sure that they didn't forget as much as you advance in their career, many of them went on to big things, that they would come and address the local issues, the stuff that are happening on the corner of the boulevard. And I got a chance to meet them because they were organizing and helping young Latinos at Sac State, trying to think through about how to also look at, a multiple of careers in business, in energy, in public service, and that continued all the way till the very end. He never stopped pushing these issues, and even when he, became a master at being provocative on social media and on Facebook to keep us engaged. And sometimes I know he would do it just to get us riled up and get us engaged, but that, I think, is a lasting memory, and I want to, give my condolences to his wife and his brother and his family as well. wish, our prayers are with them and wish them the best.
And 5 children. Our hearts go out to his entire family, especially Mina, who's also a leader, such a strong leader in her own right. And thank you, Councilmember Tell. Let's adjourn tonight in memory of a great and kind community leader, Adrian Perez. Nothing else to come before the council. We're adjourned.